Hello everyone and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk, buy online, pick up at store with Dynamics 365 Commerce. My name is Evan and I'll be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this web conference through Teams live events and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. Today's web conference is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation, and by participating in this session using Microsoft Teams, your name, email address, phone number, and/or email may be viewable by other session participants. If you do not consent to being a part of a recorded session, please disconnect at this time. The recording will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. If you have questions for the presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions throughout the event, and we will have some time at the end to speak to some questions verbally. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Now let's get started. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Holly Haines, Principal Program Manager Lead. Holly, over to you.
Great, thanks Evan. Hi everyone and thanks for joining. Again, my name is Holly Haines and I'm joined today by another program manager on the Commerce team, Anu, who will be assisting us in responding to and reviewing with me any of your questions that you enter in the Q&A area during this presentation. Today's Tech Talk is all about the capabilities available through Dynamics 365 Commerce to fully support buy online, pick up at or in store. This presentation will cover some of the capabilities that have existed in our product for some time, but we will mainly be focusing on highlighting new capabilities that have recently become available. So unless specifically noted, everything that you will see in the product demo portion of this presentation today is available for you to use as of the 10.0.16 version of our solution. That version becomes generally available to all this week. There will be one exception, I'll point it out, where I show a feature that is not available until 10.0.17. But just for your knowledge, that version .17 is actually available in public preview already as of last week. So if you have access to pre-release builds, you'll also be able to work with that feature as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's agenda will be, first we'll start out with a demo that's really going to showcase end-to-end all of the capabilities that we have in terms of buy online, pick up in or at store. We'll be kind of running through a day in the life demo with a customer who wants to pick up products using a quote-unquote curbside pickup method. And then we'll take a deeper dive into those features that you see in the demo. So I'll kind of go more deeply into some of those new capabilities and give you some information about how they're configured. And then we'll spend the last piece just peeking into the roadmap. I'll give you some insight into some of the other areas that we plan to release in this area of buy online, pick up in store over the next 3 to 12 months. So let's go ahead and see the capabilities we have in action first. We're going to spend the next 20 minutes going end to end with a buy online, pick up and curbside demonstration. Okay, so we'll start this demo in the e-commerce channel. And I'm already logged into the e-commerce site with a customer record. Her name is Keiko, and she is going to be shopping on Fabricam today to buy a new dress, and she wants to pick it up at a store near her, but she's not actually sure if Fabricam has stores near her in San Francisco. So that's where I want to focus on this first feature I want to point out that's available on the e-commerce site for Store Locator. So when we open up Store Locator, what we'll initially do is look for stores that are near the user's IP address in this case. I'm actually working out of my home office in North Carolina, and so you can see it's looking for stores that are near North Carolina. Now my customer that I'm sort of pretending to be in this demo scenario is from California, and she wants to pick it up in San Francisco. So I'm going to start by just typing in some information here. I'm going to actually end up typing in a California zip code, San Francisco zip code. But what I want to point out is as I start typing, you'll see the drop down here lights up with some suggested addresses. You'll also notice that the suggested addresses are based on my current location. So I'm in North Carolina. So as I start typing, it's kind of suggesting addresses that are near me in North Carolina. This is a service that we're leveraging powered by Bing Maps. So that's some pretty cool capability there that's now available to you to integrate to your e-commerce sites. But you'll notice as I start typing in more data, I'm actually hitting on an exact zip code for San Francisco. So it's showing me, hey, are you looking for this zip code? So I'm going to select that. And the other feature I want to point out while I'm here is set as preferred store. So in the future, when Keiko comes to this site and she wants to buy things to pick up in store, we can remember that her preferred store is San Francisco, and that's going to allow us to automatically suggest that as her default pickup location, or the first suggested pickup location that we'll give her when she adds items to her cart for pickup in store. So that is as well a new feature that I wanted to point out there. Something else I want to point out, again, leveraging the same capability along with Bing Maps, you can see an example of this in our kind of demo starter, store starter kit. If you go to this store locations form, you're going to see a similar concept here. The store locator module is here, same concept. Now that I've already set my preferred store to San Francisco, again, even though I haven't moved, I'm still in North Carolina, it's putting that option at the top of the list because I've set that as my preferred store. And then it's going from there to find other stores in that area. But what I wanted to point out here is that Bing Maps integration. So that's another feature that's going to be available. So if I click like see all stores, it's going to blow this out and show me, all the store locations that are available. And just like you would with any other, use case with Bing Maps, you can kind of scroll around here, select, different locations and view the details about the stores in those areas. So next we'll start looking at the shopping experience. And I'll just start by searching for this dress that I'm interested in purchasing. So once I find the item that I want to look at in more detail, I'm just going to click on that product. That will take us to our product details page. We sometimes refer to this as the PDP. And here's where you're going to notice another change. So in the past, our application only supported a single mode of delivery for pickup. And that was defined in your commerce parameters in the HQ. And whenever a customer added an item to their cart, either through e-commerce or through the point of sale application for pickup, we'd automatically just apply that delivery mode to every sales line that was designated to be picked up. But now, as a version 10.0.16, your options here are really essentially limitless. So for demo purposes, I've added 4 different pickup delivery modes: in-store, curbside, remote locker, store locker. And this is just, an example. You can have fewer or more depending on your needs. So I've essentially created 4 new delivery modes, or really 3 new delivery modes. We already had one kind of default store pickup mode in the system. And as you probably know with delivery modes, when you create a delivery mode, you define what channel that delivery mode is available in, as well as what products can be shipped by that delivery mode. The same logic applies here. So this dress is allowed to be picked up in the store by these 4 different modes of delivery. And we've configured that in the back office. Now, for some reason, let's say this dress was not available for locker pickup. When I configure this, the locker pickup delivery mode, I could just exclude this dress from that list of products that are available, and then it wouldn't show up here. So again, if you've been using our system for any amount of time, you hopefully understand that concept of delivery modes and linking products and channels to delivery modes. And I'm just really pointing out that all those same rules apply here to determine how we figure out which modes of delivery to show for a particular item. When I click Find in Store, oops, I got to pick my size first. And then when I click Find in Store, you're going to see, again, the experience of choosing your store. This is not new, but now that I have set my preferred store, that is going to pop up to the top of the list, even if it's not the store closest to me. As we know, this store definitely isn't closest to me based on my IP address, but because it's my preferred store, it's now showing at the top of the list. And of course, the customer can choose another store and use all of the capabilities here if they, for some reason, didn't want to go to San Francisco to pick this up. But in my scenario, I definitely want this customer to pick it up in San Francisco. And now, instead of just saying pick up here, you'll see when I click that pick up here button, I'm getting prompted to choose how do I want to pick it up, because there's 4 different ways, according to my system configuration, that we can pick up this dress. And so I'll go ahead and just choose this curbside pickup delivery mode that I've defined. So for the sake of time, we're fast forwarding to the checkout process. You might notice that this experience looks slightly different, and I'll show you some more examples of how we can break these items out in the cart by their pickup type or their shipment type. But this is an example. I added another item here, so you can see there's 2 items in this cart, both designated to be picked up in the San Francisco store. And now I'm going to click the checkout. And this is, again, another feature, a new feature that came out in 10.0.15 that I want to tell you about, which is time slots. So this is completely configurable at the channel level, so you don't have to configure it. You also can pick and choose which stores you want to configure it for. So maybe certain stores need this capability added and certain stores don't, just depending on their needs. In this case, the San Francisco store has pickup time slots defined, which is why I'm seeing this here. And again, later in the presentation, we'll get into more details about how you configure this, but this is where the user can choose their pickup date and time based on that configuration. And before I finish the checkout, I just want to point out that I'm going to be paying with a test credit card here for demonstration purposes. But I'm just pointing this out because I want to showcase a feature later in the demonstration that has to do with processing the pickup using this credit card token that we're going to be obtaining. So now that the order has been submitted, let's look at another feature available as of version 10.0.16. This is the email notification based on mode of delivery. So while you may be aware, we've always been able to initiate and generate email confirmations and email receipts and things like that. They've been pretty static templates, meaning every customer gets the same template regardless of what the order pickup delivery mode was. And with this new feature, you'll be able to target different templates based on mode of delivery. This is a good example of why that could be important. So when my order is created, when Keiko gets her email, the retailer really wants to target this email to have some instructions about curbside pickup because that was the method of delivery she chose. So now you'll be able to do that with a feature like this, and this particular template would only go to customers who have chosen the curbside mode of delivery for their orders. Okay, again, for time's sake, we're fast forwarding here. So the order was created online. We've already synchronized it, and it's in HQ. And now we're going to move to the store side experience and just look at some of our new store changes with new feature capability. When we open the point of sale, as many of you know, we've had for quite some time now this order fulfillment operation, and that is an operation that we still support. You can still certainly utilize it. When you click it, it will show you a list of all the order lines, and I emphasize the word lines, that you need to fulfill. And you can run it with certain filters. So you can say, just show me all the order lines for pickup or all the order lines for shipping from my store. And again, that functionality is still there. It's not going away. But the feedback that we got from a lot of our customers was that they really wanted to see that in an orders-based list. So rather than seeing all the order lines that needed to be fulfilled individually, they really just wanted to start at the order level and look at, the orders that needed to be picked up or the orders that needed to be shipped. So we accomplished that in 10.0.15 by taking an existing operation that's been in our product for a very long time. It's called the recall order operation, and we just enhanced it. We improved the user experience on that operation, and we also allowed it to be run with predefined filters, very much like the order fulfillment operation if you're familiar with it. I should also add that you're not seeing this because it's not configured in my environment, but you can enable the tile counts here, and that's we're making that available out of the box starting in version 10.0.18. So, a little bit of a wait to get that capability, but just like you remember from the order fulfillment operation, how you could have notifications and have the live tiles light up with how many order lines were in that particular list. We'll offer the same capability with the recall order operation. In demo data, if you are interested in looking at this, this is our San Francisco store. So we've configured this layout in San Francisco as an example. And so if I click the orders to pick up operation here, what this is calling is the recall order operation with a predefined filter to only locate or show orders that have a pickup mode of delivery on them for my store. So when this form loads, one of the things you'll notice is the experience is new. If you recall our old recall order operation, it was a very basic list page, all text-based, no, images, and you certainly didn't have this side panel on the side. So again, from a user interface perspective, it's definitely gotten a nice revamp. And then you'll note when you click on a particular order here, again, this was a filtered query. So I'm asking the system, show me all the orders at the order level that my store needs to do something with for curbside pickup, or sorry, any pickup mode of delivery, not just curbside. Remember, we can have multiple pickup modes of delivery. So it's looking at any order that has a quote unquote pickup mode of delivery as defined in parameters, and it's seeing if there's open order lines for this store for that mode, those modes of delivery, and it's showing these orders here. You can see most of mine say curbside pickup, but if I scroll down the list a little bit, here's a couple orders that are designated for in-store pickup, which is one of my other delivery modes. The order at the top of the list is the one that I've been working with today for demo purposes. So again, you get a little bit more information here about the mode of delivery. If they chose a pickup date and time, what were those selections, and how many lines are on the order. And we also have this great detail panel off to the side. So now I can see specifically what products are on this order, the status of those products. If you go back and look at the webinar we did last week on omnichannel order fulfillment, I talk a little bit more about these capabilities. This is showing what we call the detailed line status, and this is showing the detailed order status, which we pull from headquarters. So it's a little bit more realistic to what's going on with the order. You can get statuses like partially delivered or partially invoiced, which is something that we hadn't had showing in PAWS in the past, which can be a little bit more useful when you're trying to figure out what's going on with this order. And you can click on these tabs to get more details about, the mode of delivery, pickup date and time, the location of pickup, and then even the fulfillment. So right now, we haven't picked or packed any of these lines. The user is just coming in here, and, this could potentially be where they come initially to determine, hey, what do I need to work on? And then once they select an order that they want to work on, from here, they can go down to the bottom and choose the fulfill operation. Of course, you have other options here. You could cancel the order from here, edit it. You could initiate the pickup right away if you didn't do the order fulfillment steps. Some businesses don't. They just, let the customer come and do the pickup whenever they want. But in this case, we want to actually mark the order lines as picked and packed and all that. So when I click fulfill, this is going to open up the order fulfillment form pre-filtered just for this order. And it's going to show me the order lines that are relevant for fulfilling in my store. So if this order contained a mix of lines, and maybe some lines were going to ship and other lines were shipped from a DC and other lines needed to be fulfilled by my store, I would only see the order lines here that I need to work on as a store employee in the San Francisco store. So again, that whole order recall screen user experience is a new feature that you can enable in 10.0.15. Okay, for time's sake, I'm just going to fast forward again. I've already marked those two order lines as packed. And I want to point out that this isn't new functionality, but when you mark lines as packed in PAWS, that can trigger the email event for your order is ready to pick up. And again, going back to that feature we talked about earlier with customized email templates based on delivery mode, you can again target a different email to a customer if their pickup mode is curbside, maybe versus in-store. So if you needed to send a different message to the customer, maybe with some instructions of what to do when they arrive to the store now that their order is ready, again, those are all capabilities that are now available with that email template by delivery mode feature. For time's sake, I'm just going to jump forward to the pickup action. So again, this is kind of one way you can go about it. I'm going to open that order recall operation that we talked about earlier, but I'm going to open it with no filter. So it's not automatically going to find orders to pick up or orders for shipment. When I come here, I have some options. I can search orders myself, and I could put some filters in to locate an order that I'm specifically looking for. And I can also get to those predefined filters that we talked about as well. So I could just show all the orders that I need to fulfill, just the orders that need to be fulfilled for pickup, and orders that need to be fulfilled for shipment. But in this scenario, what I want to showcase is that on this form, as soon as you open it, is listening for a barcode scan event. So for example, let's say in your order is ready to pick up email that you send to the customer, you embed a QR code or a barcode that has the order number in it. as an example, and the customer now has come to the store. Maybe this CPOS device that I'm running is running on a mobile device or a tablet, and I walk out to the customer's car and they hold up to their, potentially closed door window, the email confirmation that has the barcode on it, and I can just scan that barcode. So I have a barcode scanner. You can't see it, but I just did it. I scanned a barcode, and it went out and searched against, we actually are searching against the order number, the receipt ID, and the channel reference ID. So if we find a match for any of those three fields, we'll show you what we found. And in this case, we found an exact match on an order number, because I know the barcode I scanned was the order number. And we're now able to initiate the pickup operation, which is the next feature that I want to showcase in this demonstration. So you can see the status of the order lines is in a delivered state. For any of you who have been working with our product for a while, you will know that in the back office, when you mark lines as packed, the status gets updated to delivered. That is something that we've inherited from our legacy of sitting on the ERP. We will be making a change here, though, so that this will not show delivered, this will show packed. So that you can expect, but I don't have that version of code to show you today. But I know that can be confusing to see delivered. But essentially, that means the order status is packed. These lines have been packed. And now that the customer is here, I want to initiate the pickup operation. And when I initiate the pickup operation, in 10.0.17 is where you're going to see this new feature light up. This is a new user experience. Again, if you recall in our older versions, when you clicked the pickup operation, you would get what we would call more of like a list page, a very, text-driven, not very pretty list page where you could pick the items that the customer is going to pick up. Here, we're just giving you a better user experience. You can see that we have defaulted in the pickup quantities based on the packed quantities, picked or packed quantities that we detect. So if for some reason, let's say the customer had ordered 3 dresses and we had only packed 1 and the other 2 were open, they hadn't been picked or packed, we would default in a pickup quantity of 1 because we consider that to be ready for pickup. But the user can go in and change the quantity. So here it doesn't make any sense because everything is ready. But in my scenario that I just gave you, we might see something like 3 ordered, 2 not ready for pickup, and 1 ready for pickup. We're not going to stop the user from initiating a pickup for things that are quote unquote not ready. By not ready, we just mean that we don't detect those lines to be in a picked or packed state. So that's just, again, something to keep in mind. But in this case, everything was packed, so I really don't have to do anything extra. I can just click pickup from here and move on, but it is configurable if the user needs to make changes here. When I click pickup, I want to reference back to that credit card I talked about. So in my demo, when I initially created this order online, I talked about how I used a credit card, and I want to use that token, and I want to have a seamless experience so that my customer doesn't have to hand me their credit card again at the time of pickup. I just want to use that token and apply it as a payment. Now, we've had that omni-channel payment feature for a while, but it required a hardware station to be connected to the device. And that made it a little bit less user-friendly when it came to doing sort of mobile order pickups, and where we had customers who really wanted to use like tablet devices or phone devices, and they didn't want to have to worry with a hardware station. And so with a feature that we released in 10.0.14, you can configure the processing of the payment to happen on the retail server side, essentially, not requiring a payment device to be connected. And that's what I've got configured in my environment. I'm running a CPOS device. I don't have a payment terminal. I don't have a hardware station, but now I still am able to choose and use the available payment method on file and apply that to my pickup, where previously, before 10.0.14, you would not have been able to do that. So now, because we've applied that payment, my balance due is 0, and all we have to do now is just finalize the order. Lots of different ways to do that. I can click the equal payment here to just say we're done. We do have an operation you can add to your screen layout called conclude transaction, and if you wanted to have that there, you could just click conclude transaction. I don't have it in my demo data here, or you can even just click the zeros here to initiate the payment. And we're going to get our finalization or our change due. So we've seen that end-to-end process. We saw started online. We saw some of the new features available for shopping, finding your store, selecting your preferred store, adding items to the cart for a certain type of pickup, in this case, curbside, getting specific email confirmations and notifications based on being a curbside pickup shopper. We've seen how we've changed some flows in the point of sale, hopefully to make it easier for users to locate orders that they need to work on, mark those orders as picked and packed, and then initiate the pickup operation when the customer arrives. Okay, guys, I am back with you live. If you weren't aware, you were watching a video for the past few minutes. That was just a lot of content, so to try to demo that live would have been difficult, trying to switch over and process the order. So hopefully that gave you a good end-to-end overview of really how the process would work from start to finish, and along the way, I pointed out some of the capabilities that are new. We actually showcased 9 new capabilities during that demo. So in the next few slides, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into some of those capabilities and talk about, some configuration steps and things, just so you're aware of how to enable them. So the first capability you saw in the demo was the store selector module that I showcased when I first looked up to see, if there were any stores in San Francisco. And if you remember, I was able to type in an address and get some suggested help from Bing Maps along the way to locate the specific address or zip code I was looking for. And then you'll also recall that we have that experience where you can view this store locator side by side with a Bing map to locate stores, based on the location on the map. And then you also saw the capability of being able to set my preferred store. To enable these features, you just need to add the store selector module to your pages. So once you do that, you can then configure the module itself to run in the mode that you wish to run it in. So for my example, when I was initially looking for a store near San Francisco and I ran that store locator module, I was running it just in the find stores mode with no product context. But then if you recall, when I went to my product details page for my dress and I said I want to find that in store, that was running the store locator in a pickup in store mode. And that's going to take into consideration the item that you're looking at, as well as the stores that are around the user. Because again, we don't want to show stores that might not sell this item or carry this item. So you can run that in different context depending on the page that you're running it from. And then when you're configuring this module, if you want to use that new set as preferred store capability, you would just enable that here. I do want to point out at the bottom of this slide, you guys will get copies of the presentation deck. There is a link here to the more detailed documentation, so you can learn more about those features. Next up, we talked about the multiple delivery modes. So when I checked out online, or I looked at my product availability, I could see that I had all these options now available to me. I could pick it up in different ways. That has been a new feature as of 10.0.16. And I do want to point out, because you didn't see it in the demo, these do light up in the point of sale experience as well. So if you were to go into point of sale and create a customer pickup order, when you select the store that you wish to pick it up in, we'll show you now the options that you have if you've configured more than one pickup mode for that store. So to configure this feature, you first need to enable the feature. It's called support for multiple delivery modes. Once you've enabled that feature, you would then just create as many new modes of delivery as you needed for your particular scenario. So as you saw in my demo, I added 3 new modes of delivery. I already had sort of a generic store pickup mode of delivery, and then I added a curbside and a couple locker pickup modes just to show you some examples. And as I mentioned, as you set up your delivery modes, you link those to channels and products, and that's capability that's always been there. So you would do the same for these new modes of delivery. Whenever you add new modes of delivery or you edit existing modes of delivery, always remember to run your process delivery mode job. That creates we call it the explosion of the relationship, so we can know all the different combinations of channel, delivery mode, and item that are included and excluded. And then once you've defined your new modes of delivery, you can go into your commerce parameters and go under the commerce orders tab and you're going to have a new experience here. There's going to be a new fast tab called Modes of Delivery. And as I mentioned in previous versions, you could only define one pickup mode of delivery. Now you can see you can define really as many as you need. And you can also enter in your display order if you'd like. So if you wanted for some reason maybe to promote curbside pickup as sort of the primary option, you could pop that to the top of the list of options to choose from by using this display order. I'll also point out, just as with any new feature, when you enable and set up new things in the back office, always remember to run your distribution jobs so that all those changes you make in headquarters get pushed down to your channel databases. And once you do all of that set up correctly, you'll start seeing those new delivery mode options appear for selection when you're buying products online or through the point of sale for pickup. Again, user documentation is linked at the bottom of this slide. When you do enable the multiple pickup delivery modes feature, I want to point out, and you saw kind of a little bit of this, although I didn't have a mix of items in my demo cart, you will get to take advantage of some new user experiences displays that we have on the e-commerce pages, just to break out and show the user kind of in a nice way the different mix and match of items. Because now that we allow multiple pickup delivery modes, you could have potentially a situation like this. I've got one item that's going to be curbside pickup at San Francisco, another item that's going to be locker pickup in San Jose, and then I've got another item that I'm going to ship to home. So as we now kind of expand sort of the combinations that are possible, we want to make sure that the shopper understands clearly how these items are being fulfilled. And of course, they can make changes if they need to. If they decide to change the store, they can go back and do that. This display is similar on the order confirmation page. Once I finish the order, I'll get a breakdown again of the products and how they're being fulfilled. This particular product, I had chosen a pickup date and time, so we'll reference that as well. In the checkout cart, if you use the mini cart view here, we have that breakout as well. And then on your order history page, after the order has already been created, if the customer goes back to say, what did I order? Let me review my order history. Again, it'll be broken out in this way and include any additional details like pickup date and time if they've used that. I'm going to point out that this QR code that you see here is a feature that's in development right now. So it's not something that you would see in your environment, but it is something that will be released soon, which will be, again, just another way to help facilitate the pickup of the order when the customer arrives in the store. Next up, we'll talk about the time slot feature. As you saw in the demo, when I went to checkout, I was able to choose a pickup date and time at checkout. What you didn't see is that this capability also lights up in the point of sale and in the call center. So that time slot capability, once you've configured it and set it up, you'll be able to apply time slots to your pickup orders in any of your channels. And to set that up, you don't have to turn on a feature. It's not feature enabled. You just actually, once you have the 10.0.15 release, you'll see this new form, this new option that you can access through the menu for order pickup time slot management. And you can just come in here and configure time slots as needed. Time slots can be created, as you can see in this screenshot, by mode of delivery and with a relationship to the channel. So in this example, I'm just showing you we've created specifically a set of pickup time slots for a couple different modes of delivery just for the San Francisco store. But if you have multiple stores that all have the same time slot patterns, you could certainly just add a bunch of channels to the same time slot setup. After you configure this form and add your time slots, again, just a couple of pointers, always make sure you run your distribution jobs to update the channel with this new information. If you're using our e-commerce capabilities, you're going to want to add the pickup information module to the checkout cart. So that will give that prompt to have the user choose their pickup date and time if applicable. We won't show that. We'll hide it if it's not applicable for the store they've chosen to pick up in. And as I mentioned, it's available in all of our channel applications. And before I get to this last bullet point, I'll kind of walk you through just some of the capabilities here and how they would work. So if you recall, in the demo, I had chosen curbside pickup as my mode of delivery. That in my system is delivery mode 65. So we were referencing this setup when I was checking out. And I want to first point out the minimum days and the maximum days. So the minimum days is going to determine basically your lead time. How quickly can you prepare these orders and have them ready? In my example, I have a minimum of 2 days. So what that means is if I take an order today, today's February 2nd, the first available pickup day that the customer will see when they check out is February 4th, so 2 days later. If they want to pick up on a day after February 4th, the maximum days is where you define the maximum number of days that you show the customer. So in this case, I will show them 7 days of options. So they'll see a range of pickup dates. In my example, if I created an order today, they'd be able to choose between February 4th and February 9th as their pickup dates. That is minimum maximum days. And then on the delivery mode level, you define the date range. So how long do you want to offer time slot selection for this particular mode of delivery? What are the hours, the range of hours that time slots can land in? So in this case, mine is 8 to 5. And what days of the week do you offer pickup by time slot? And what are your intervals? So if you remember from my demo, my pickup time slots were hour-long intervals. So I could pick up between 8 and 9, 9 and 10. You can configure this, again, however you would need it for your business. And then the last thing I want to talk about is slots per interval. So slots per interval is sort of our way of helping you to manage capacity. If you want to limit how many customers can pick up orders within the same time slot on the same day, you can use this to accomplish that. So in my example, after 10 customers have chosen the exact same date and time slot, that time slot is not going to be shown anymore as an option for the 11th and 12th customers to choose from. For this to work properly, though, back to this last bullet point, it's important that you run the process pickup time slot availability job often. This job is going to keep track of how many orders have been processed for that time slot and know when to cut it off and not allow that time slot to be shown anymore. I do want to state with just sort of a caveat on this that, as many of you know, our solution is a distributed solution. So what that means is you could have multiple commerce scale units. You can have, hundreds of stores all taking orders and different e-commerce sites all at the same time. And if all of them are creating pickup orders for the same stores, there is the potential that, due to the distributed architecture, from a timing perspective, maybe the 11th or 12th order can sneak in and actually get allocated to that time slot before this job is able to cut that time slot off. So I just want to kind of throw that out there as just sort of a thing to be aware of. We would recommend that when you define the slots per interval, that if you know that your actual capacity is 10, maybe set this field a couple of slots lower, maybe to 8 or something, just to account for that potential variance that can happen. Email notifications, you saw an example of that in the demo. Here's a couple of screenshots just highlighting our typical emails that we would send during the order fulfillment lifecycle. Your initial order confirmation, your order is ready for pickup, and your order has been picked up. Again, we've always had these email templates, but they were not delivery mode specific. Now you can target specific messages. So when my customer says, I want to pick something up curbside, I can send them a very targeted email that gives them information about curbside pickup, rather than if they said, I want to pick it up at store, that might be a different email template with different messaging. So to set that up is very simple. Again, you'll just turn on this feature in the back office, customize transactional email templates by mode of delivery. When you do that and you open up your email notification profile form, you're going to notice a new option here called Configure Modes of Delivery. You would select the email notification template that you're looking to customize, like in this case, order ready for pickup, and click that. And you'll now be able to define different templates by mode of delivery. In this case, I only have one template defined for curbside pickup. And if a customer orders for with any other pickup mode of delivery, like in-store or locker, I don't have a specific email ID. So what will happen is it will just revert and send them the default template, the one that's connected to the event as a default. Again, user documentation links at the bottom of the slide. The enhanced recall order operation that you saw, where I can open up the recall order form and either scan a barcode or search for an order or open it with a predefined filter to find orders that meet a certain criteria. That's capability that's available in 10.0.15, and that is enabled again by turning on a feature. So improve recall order operations in pause, the name of the feature. For this feature, I want to point out that after you turn it on, you should run the initialize commerce schedule job because there are some new tables involved with this feature, and we'll want to make sure those tables are added to your commerce data exchange, your distribution jobs. After you do that, you'll run the distribution jobs, of course, to update the channel database with your changes. And this is an optional feature, but an optional step, I should say, but if you want to have the experience like I showed, where you had multiple buttons on your start menu, and when you clicked one of them, it opened the recall order operation with no filter, and then when you clicked another one, it opened it with the orders to pick up showing. That's all just configured through your button grid designer. So when you add these button to your screen layout to open the recall order operation, you're now going to be prompted to choose which filter you want to run that operation with. Again, documentation link at the bottom. And we talked about the new pickup processing flows. When you click pickup, and in my demo, I only showed clicking pickup through the order recall form. For those of you who are familiar with our system, you may know that if I'm in the order fulfillment operation, which is that screen that shows you all the lines that you need to fulfill, there's also a pickup operation there. And so I want to just point out that regardless of where you click the pickup operation from, we'll give you this experience in both places. So you'll have a consistent user experience regardless of where you initiate the pickup operation. That is actually different than what you experience in older versions. In older versions, the pickup flow and the user experience was different for the user if they clicked it from order recall versus order fulfillment. And so we hope to make this a little bit nicer and more user-friendly by having a consistent experience. This screenshot, by the way, sort of shows you the example of what I was trying to kind of talk about theoretically in the video demo is when you open this form, we're going to default the pickup now quantity based on what we know to be picked or packed. In this case, the customer ordered 3 sunglasses, but only 2 of them were picked or packed. And so we only consider 2 of those ready for pickup. That doesn't stop the user, though, from clicking this and updating the pickup quantity to 3. So we're not going to stop a user from initiating a pickup for the full quantity. We just assume that probably that one pair is not ready because we don't detect it being in a picked or packed state. To enable this feature, again, feature management is where you would turn this on. Improved user experience for pickup of order processing and point of sale is the name of the feature. Here's just some screenshots of, the order fulfillment form and the recall order form. Both of those buttons will initiate that new operation for you once you've run the distribution jobs. Something I didn't show you in the demo, and again, just for time's sake, you can read more about it in the user doc, which is linked below. But this feature does give you another new POS operation. It's called change pickup lines. And if you want to, you can add that operation to your transaction cart. As an example of how that might work, once I've, let's say in this scenario, I've clicked pick up here to pick up all of these products. Once I load the cart with all of those products and pick up quantities, the customer changes their mind and says, I don't want to get these sunglasses today, these 2 sunglasses, I'll come back another day for those. I just want to get, these last 2 items right now. So in the past, if you've already loaded up your transaction cart with all those products, you would really have no other recourse but to void the transaction and to start the pickup operation all over again. So with this new operation that we're giving you called the change pickup lines operation, while you're in your transaction cart, if you click that operation, if you've added it to your screen layout, essentially this screen will pop back up again, and you can just go in here, click on the arrow, change your pickup quantity to 0 for this item. And then when you exit, you'll see your cart refresh, and now you'll just have the two products that they want to pick up, and that round wrap sunglasses will have a 0 pickup quantity. So your order totals and everything will reflect the actual pickup amount. So just wanted to point that out since it wasn't in the demo. And finally, the process credit cards without a hardware station. You saw that as well. Very, simple feature. We've always had this I don't want to say always, but we've for a very long time had this capability of leveraging the token that you capture online and applying it to the pickup, but it did require a hardware station. And as mentioned in the demo, now if you don't want to worry with a hardware station, you don't need it because you're just processing a bunch of curbside pickup orders and the credit cards are already on file. You're not collecting new payment. You can just configure those specific registers that will be doing that function to use retail server in the credit card, card not present processing field. And then once you've done that configuration and run your distribution jobs again to update channel, you'll be able to do that process just as you saw in my demo. Again, user doc reference below. So those were all the new capabilities that you saw in the presentation and some more detail on those. I do want to spend a couple of moments before we get to Q&A just to talk about what's next. I am going to stress that I'm sharing this information sort of with a warning that, what you see on this slide is still in engineering and in some cases even just in the planning stages, and therefore some of these enhancements are subject to change. They could potentially even be cut from the engineering plan, but I did want to give you just a peek into the future in this presentation, and I just want to stress you shouldn't base any implementation plans with your customers based on what you see on this slide. The first bullet point here, you kind of got a sneak peek of that already in some of the screenshots in my presentation, embedding QR codes in the customer emails or on e-commerce order confirmation pages. That is in engineering. That should be coming out. Our target would be 10.0.18 for that. This other feature is the ability for a customer to check in for their pickup from their email. So as we saw in the email template feature, you can send an email to a customer when their order is ready for pickup. What this feature will enable is in that email, if you want to, you can add a button that says I'm here. And so the customer will open that email when they physically get to the store and they're in the parking lot, and they'll click on that I'm here button. And what the capability that we're providing will do is a couple of different options. The first option, the most simplistic option, is when they touch that button that says I'm here, we're going to call retail server and we're going to create a notification and a task in that user's store to alert the sales associates that the customer is outside and is here to pick something up. That task that we create and that notification we create will contain the customer's order number and related information, because we know who the customer is because they're clicking that button from their email. Probably I would say the more advanced version of that, if you want to enable it, is when the customer clicks I'm here, we can open up a web page, and that web page can ask them for more information, maybe their parking spot number, their car make and model, whatever information the retailer wants to capture. We'll take that information and we'll also include it in the task and the notification that we create in point of sale. So again, just more information that the sales associate could have to help them locate the customer and deliver the order to them and complete that task. That right now is something that is in engineering. Our hope is a target of 10.0.19 for that release. Again, everything on this slide is subject to change, but just giving you some high-level understanding of when you might be able to expect those capabilities. As I mentioned in the demo, when I look at the recall order operation buttons on my point of sale screens, you can have live tiles associated to those. Now you can accomplish that right now with some customization, but what we're doing in 10.0.18, that's the plan for releasing this, is we're just enabling that live tiles experience out of the box, so you don't have to do any additional configuration on your end. The customer notifications, the sales associate notifications that appear in the point of sale, we have that capability today. As new orders get created, things need to be picked or packed, as tasks get created, those can create notifications in point of sale. The, I guess, challenge, I would say, with our current notification framework within point of sale is if the user is not looking at the point of sale application and kind of keeping tabs on that screen, they're not going to know that a notification has occurred, right? There's no tactical alert, there's no sound alert. And in some cases, we've had customers say, listen, I want to get an alert even if point of sale is not the main application running on my screen right now. I want more of like a system alert. And we're investigating ways to accomplish all of those things. So that, I would say this bullet point is definitely in the research stages. I can't really give you even a targeted timeline of when this will be released. Our hope is within, the next 6 to 10 months. But that is something we are really trying to improve upon, is how we notify the sales associate that they have a task or a new order or, something to do. And that kind of ties into this last bullet point, is today when new orders get created that need to be fulfilled by the store, we create notifications, but we don't create tasks automatically. And some customers have asked us, can you just automatically create a task and that I can assign to somebody, and then I can have that person go pick and pack that order? Today, they could accomplish that, but they would have to manually create the task in point of sale through our task management tools. So this feature would programmatically create those tasks. So every time we detect a new order that's come in, or potentially a customer arriving to the store by clicking that I'm here button that we talked about earlier, those would systematically create those tasks for the users to complete. Again, that one is, I don't have a targeted timeline for you. I would say our hope is to release this in the next, I would say, 4 to 6 months. So hopefully that helped you to see just a little bit of what we've delivered, as well as what we intend to continue to deliver. I will, again, tease you a little bit by telling you that there are even some cooler capabilities that we are working on, but I can't share them with you today. So I know that's a bit of a tease, but I do want you to understand that from a product investment perspective, the commerce team is really focused on continuing to improve this area of buy online, pick up in store, and making sure that we really make this process seamless for both the customer who's shopping, as well as the store associate who's managing and processing those orders. If you want to keep tabs on what we're doing, I would suggest you visit our release plan site. We update that every wave, we call it. So every 4 months, you'll get a new version of that updated with the things that are coming out over the next quarter. And I've included the link to that on this slide as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anu to see if she has any questions that we want to cover live.
Thank you, Holly. We don't have any unanswered questions at this time.
Awesome. Great, guys. All right. So with no questions left, I'm going to go to this last slide here and turn it over to Evan.
Perfect. Thank you, Holly. We would like to get your feedback on today's session. I've posted a link to a short survey in the Q&A panel. We value your feedback and welcome your input on how we did today and what you would like to see in future sessions. That survey scores on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score possible, and we thank you for your participation in that. As a reminder, the recording of today's session will be available on the TechTalks Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenter, Holly, and a thank you to our audience for logging in and joining us today. Please stay safe and have a great rest of your day or evening wherever you are. Goodbye.